Hi everyone, this is Cynthia from Bridget's Well in Casadega, coming to you again today to talk about the Major Arcana in the Tarot cards, and our next step of the journey takes us to keys number 3 and 4. Key number 3 is typically entitled the Empress card. And this is a representation of the Lady of the Earth, the Empress of the Earth, Mother Earth energy. There's astrological associations with Venusian energy. This very Venus sort of love, abundance, well-being, joyfulness, comfort, all of these wonderful things. Okay, so when the Emperor's card comes up in a reading, typically does lean towards abundance, fertility, creativity, just all the wonderful and good things that we want in life, that things that bring us joy, things that make us want to share our love, things that make us comfortable with everything that's going on, with who we are, where we're at, what we're doing, and our environment, our physical and spiritual and emotional well-being, is everything that deems abundance and prosperity. The energy of the Empress card is, again, there's that Mother Earth energy, there's a bit of that Venus energy in terms of health, well-being, love, material comforts, things of that nature. This is, in the tarot, it's really representative of the goddess energy. It's representative of the divine feminine and all of the things that play into that energy on a very manifest way, not just on the material and physical level manifest, but also on the mental, emotional, and the spiritual planes. It's the manifestation of abundance and prosperity and creativity on all of these levels. And there's also that energy of nurturance and support and strength, right? Like planting a seed in Mother Earth and it gets nurturance from the earth, nutrients and nurturance. The earth and water energy blend and kind of come up and help with the growth and all of these beneficial changes that eventually bring the plant that we planted the seed to fruition. So the Emperor's card really represents that kind of mothering, Mother Earth, nurturing energy as well, a lot in terms of growth. And all of the changes that might come along with growth, but we're seeing those changes in a very beneficial type of fashion. In the Emperor card, number 4, you have that divine masculine, the God energy. The Emperor does have a lot of astrological associations to Saturn, because he is the provider, protector energy. Saturnine energy is all about orderliness. Saturn energy is the lawgiver, right? He says, okay, you can do this thing, you can build this thing, but these are the rules. This is how you do it, because when this happens, this is the consequence. When this happens, or when you do this, this is what you will be building. So in terms of that, on a level of more universal, you have that Saturnine energy as like universal natural law, when you do this, and there's an order to that, right? Or the universe is blending chaos and orderliness, right, in order to make things manifest. And that's what his energy is. And as divine masculine, you know, masculine energy is um, projective, outgoing, external, right? And so, what we're really seeing here with the Saturnine energy in the Emperor is that, these are the rules of the game. This is how you're going to do it, and this is what will be manifested. So, put order into the steps that you go into. Um, a lot of people also think, especially because the emperor in the tarot is can be depicted as wearing armor and then having his mantle over him, um, and having sort of this warrior type of lawgiver energy. There are a lot of associations with Mars energy, and again, it's very it's that people always talk about Mars and Venus, after that book that came out, Women Are From Venus and Men Are From Mars. And you looking at those as being the pairing of masculine and feminine in terms of like astrological or celestial body type of duality. Um, what we really see with the Mars energy in terms of divine masculine is not just a warrior, but what we're looking at is the provider protector of the father like energy, right? So, Saturn lawgiver, these are the rules. If you want to build something, you're going to follow these instructions, kind of a thing, in order to manifest that thing, right? In a certain sense, that's also provider energy. It's providing you with a template in order to manifest and build what it is that you want with a secure foundation. That Saturnine energy also speaks to the foundations and the security, the feeling of security that comes with being able to build something lasting, or looking at your environment and saying, well, I need to build something temporary because this is not where it's going to stay, but I do need to get it started for a purpose or a reason or whatever the case might be, right? The Mars energy, doing that divine masculine and that fatherly type of energy, is actually bringing through the protector provider energy. He's bringing through the surround and protect, sort of that Mother Earth energy, um, and that courage and that warrior strength, but also providing nurturance, providing that sense of security, providing that feeling of security. So the Emperor card actually has really deep meaning in terms of divine masculine and these different sides of how we look at that father god figure energy coming through. And we can see again, as we saw with like the magician and the high priestess card, that balance of masculine and feminine within the self. We're seeing in the emperor and the empress, 4 and 3. Flip it around. So we come to key number 3, and it's the empress, and key number 4 is the emperor. And what we're seeing there are like the mother goddess, father god figures, that divine masculine and feminine energy, providing us with something external. So, where the magician and the high priestess were an internal state, we're putting that those energies of our consciousness and of our spirit into action and actually manifesting something, whether you're growing a garden or building a house, right? You're or building a business, or growing a family, or whatever the case might be. You're putting that out there, externalizing it. And that's with the representation. So even if we look at the tarot, the major arcana, as that developmental journey of consciousness, spiritual consciousness, dynamic alchemy, which is all about um, soul development, and kind of awakening to other levels of consciousness, what we're really seeing is, okay, there's that internal mental emotional structure of masculine and feminine provided by the magician and the high priestess in 1 and 2, and that's in here. That's our processing, okay, that gives rise to our actions or our voice, and our responses, right? When you're looking at the empress and the emperor, that's out here. That's what we're actually doing and putting into action, what we're building, how we are translating what's inside into what's out there. And that's where our environment becomes a reflection of our internal state, right? If you look around your room or your office or whatever, disorganized, cluttered, sort of chaotic, all over the place, or is it nice, neat, orderly, what have you? Is it a little too dusty because you were ignoring that part of, taking care of your space? And it's like you find that one book on the bookshelf, and then like all of a sudden, like, you have to like wipe it off if you want to sit down and read it, right? So it's like, again, our environment reflects our internal states, you know. Sometimes we ignore the dishes for an hour, and that's perfectly fine, but that's a reaction. That's something going on in our external environment that is a reflection of where we're at. I don't feel like doing it. That's where I'm at. It's a plate and a fork. Big deal. I'm gonna leave it for an hour, because there's something else you want to do, or something else that you feel like you have to do. And that is an internal state being put on your external environment. So, even when we look at relationships, we kind of have that, I think Don Miguel Ruiz even mentioned it in the Four Agreements. You know, when somebody's don't take anything personally was the precept, because the idea of being that, you know, whatever they say or do has to do with where their head is. It has nothing to do with you. It doesn't matter if you're a family member, if you or a friend or a stranger on the street, right? You're there, and that person is there, and the energies are responding and reacting to one another. But if they turn around and they're rude to you, that has nothing to do with you. Even if they think it's justified, like you did something and they justify their own behavior by reacting to that and say, well, it's your fault. Like, no. The only reason this interaction is going on is because your state of mind and the other person's state of mind are having a conflict, or having a sharing balance. Like that, it's not so much of an objective thing, right? It's born, the experience itself, the interaction itself is born of our mental state and how we handle that mental state in a given environment or circumstance. Excuse me. So, again, magician, key number 1, high priestess, key number 2. If you didn't catch that video, go back one and give it a look over. That being the internal state, masculine and feminine. In this video, we've been talking about the Empress, key number 3, and the Emperor, key number 4, that being the external state. And again, that comes out in a reading, in terms of when you get the Empress card. Does it, for a woman, could it mean that she's pregnant? For an artist, could it mean that, they're actually going to sell, they need to create more art because they're going to sell something and receive abundance? Does that have to do with the nurturing energy, the garden, the business, growing, all of this stuff, right? the Emperor card shows up, and what is that really speaking about? It's talking about taking a look at the ins and outs, whether it be legal paperwork, whether it be orderliness, organization, having a plan, some kind of a design, a step by step. It's saying take a look at that, because what you're doing is not, it is or is not, in one way or the other, whether you're being challenged or whether it's coming through, right? You're either building on a solid foundation, or you need to double check the plans, because you need to realign with what you're building with the template, that, or the design that you've put in place. So that being where we're at, next video will be number 5.